The Yeti is recording. The Yeti is recording. The blue Snowball is recording. The blue Snowball is recording. Camera 1 is recording. Camera 2 is recording. Let's synchronize everything. Rec. We're recording. Oh, yes, Booth Junkies. It is good to be back. I was gone for a couple of days. I went on vacation. Oh, it's so good to be back. I missed you guys. You guys are the best. I love you. What's happening, Booth Junkies? Mike Delgadio here, back with another video on home studio setup for voiceover. And today we're going to compare two microphones, two more in our budget series of microphones. And these are ones that I have gotten a number of requests for. And I'm going to do my best to try and do an apples to apples comparison of them. But these are two sister microphones. Brother microphones? Sibling microphones. They're friends. They're together, but not in that way. We have a blue Yeti, not a Yeti Pro, just a blue Yeti, plain old Yeti, and a plain old blue Snowball. Both made by Blue, two different levels of microphone. This one's a bit more entry level because it's cheaper. This one is a bit more capable, the Yeti, and we're just going to compare and contrast. And so you guys can hear the difference in the sound between them. Now, let's talk about how we have these set up. So right now they are both, about a palm's distance? Maybe, about that. 5 inches, about 5 inches from me. I have them both angled towards me. They don't have a pop filter. These are not on the stands that they come with. These are on my stands. That's why I can get the capsules at the same height. They come with different size stands, and these are both borrowed microphones. These are not mine, so I don't have the blue. I just got the microphone. The Yeti. I got just the microphone. Don't have the stand. The blue Snowball. I have the stand, but it's really low. It's super low. It doesn't go up nearly high enough to be up at my mouth level, which is a pain in the butt. So in both of this, right off the bat, on both of these cases, for both microphones, you're probably going to need to buy a microphone stand. I will say that the reason I didn't get the stand with this microphone, with the Yeti, is because it, like many of the other microphones that we've tested, is it hears every bump and knock on the table. Now, this one is not nearly so microphonic. When you touch it, you might hear the actual sound of me touching the microphone, but as you nudge the microphone, it's not like boom, 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 boom. It doesn't have these huge knocks. The internal dampening of this microphone, the Yeti, is pretty good. Now, the blue Snowball, this one is a cheaper microphone, and its casing, while it looks good, it's got this nice, I assume it's metal. I don't know. It could be plastic. I'm not really sure. It's got a plasticky sound to it when you touch it. So let's talk about the two different microphones themselves. So the blue Snowball comes in two models. This is the normal Snowball. I think there's also one called the Ice, which is an even less expensive one. I think it's like $50 to this one's $70 MSRP. I don't know. I'll have to look on Amazon. I'll put a graphic here of Amazon, shows what the current prices are for the blue Snowball and the Yeti. And they're both, they're still both pretty entry-level price-wise microphones. $70 for the Snowball, I think $120 for the Yeti. Now, there's also a Yeti Pro, and near as I can tell, the difference between the Yeti and the Yeti Pro is the Yeti Pro also has an XLR output so that you could go into an interface, or you could use it over USB, whereas the Yeti, just a plain old Yeti, just has USB out. Okay, pattern-wise, these are both multi-pattern microphones, but they're multi-pattern in different ways. So the Snowball, start over here with the Snowball. The Snowball is a multi-pattern microphone, but it's either a cardioid pattern. Cardioid means that there's a lobe of sensitivity that comes around the microphone, and it is less sensitive from behind. But as you move around left to right around the microphone, it should still pick up my voice pretty similarly. As long as I'm the same distance away as I move around the mic, it should still be okay. Now, the Yeti is a multi-pattern microphone, but it's got more patterns to it. I have it right now on the cardioid pattern, but this one also is... They're both stereo microphones. Should have mentioned that before. But the Yeti has a pattern that is specifically for enhanced stereo. we'll just go through all the patterns real quick. So the stereo means it's not sensitive from the back, but as you go from side to side, you'll hear, it should sound, you should hear me be able to pan back and forth on the microphones. In your earphones, you should hear me panning back and forth with the stereo setup. The next setting is the omnidirectional setting. So as I turn the microphone around, I should be exactly the same sensitivity all the way around. The next one is, The next one is cardioid. So now I've got that lobe. You know I'm going to hit that microphone. A lobe of sensitivity from the front, less sensitive from the back. So as I turn the microphone to the back, my voice essentially disappears because it is rejecting it from the back. And then the last setting is the figure 8 setting. So that means that it is sensitive directly from the back, directly from the front. It rejects from the side. So as I turn the mic to the side, but as the back, you see I'm right back to as loud as I was before. So that's the different patterns. I'm going to switch it back to cardioid so that we have an apples to apples comparison between the two microphones. Sorry for any bumps and rattles and thumps. Got to handle the mic if you want to see all these things. Got to handle the mic. So those are the basic features. They are both USB-based microphones. We're recording into Reaper. We're not going into my Audient or anything like that. We're just going directly into the computer at the same time. These are synchronized. I'm recording this all at once, so I'm just going to switch back and forth so that you can hear them. How did I do that? Rogue Amoeba's Loopback program. Live it, love it, learn it. Not an advertise. I'm not paid by Rogue Amoeba, but man, do I love Rogue Amoeba's Loopback program for exactly this kind of situation. So I can listen to two USB mics at the same time. How do they do it? I do not know. Anyway, let's just talk a little bit more into these microphones. The next thing we'll do is we'll test the proximity effect of the microphone. We will go towards the Snowball first. Now, proximity effect is the tendency for a microphone to enhance the amount of bass as you get closer to the microphone. In many cases, this is not what you want. In some cases, it is what you want. Sometimes in recording sessions, they'll be like, eat that microphone so that we can capture that bass in your voice. But it's an artificial raising of the bass in your voice. So some microphones, some engineers want it. Some engineers will just roll off all that bass anyway. They just want you to be close to it. So we're going to take a listen to both of these. First, let's check the proximity effect. Now, I can't hear myself in the blue. In the Snowball, I can't hear myself in the Snowball right now, so we're just going to hear how it sounds. So as I get closer to the Snowball, we can hear the proximity effect. This does have a pretty nice screen in front of it. Hopefully I'm not popping the microphone for you. I'm trying to use my technique not to pop the microphone. But as you see, as I get closer, to my recollection, the Snowball does not get particularly bassy as you get closer. Now we'll switch over to the Yeti. This one I am listening to. The Yeti, also, as I get closer to it, I don't notice that I get particularly bassy. So I'm right up there. I'm practically eating this microphone. My mouth is right up against the basket here. So we'll back off here. So there's a comparison between the two. Now, like I said, some people are going to roll that off anyway. But my impression of the sound of both of these microphones is very, very similar to the other budget microphones we've tested so far. Is they tend not to be particularly responsive from a bass perspective. Now, that's either a good or bad thing. I don't make a judgment call on it. For me, I do like to have more bass response in my microphone, and I like to have the choice to take it out. That's why I always record flat and I can take it out after. I don't do the bass roll off on any of my microphones when I have that option. It's just me. There's nothing that says that's the right way to do it or the wrong way to do it, but I like to be able to remove it. I hate to not have it recorded. But I do notice that both of these microphones, they're very crisp. In the high end, they're almost clinical, right? Same thing with the, they're smoother than the Accio. I will say these are smoother than the Accio. Both of them seem smoother. That was really super crisp up at the high end, almost to the point of being metallic for lack of a better word. But I do find that still these both still have that tendency to be really emphasized in the high end and diminished in the low end. That's my impression of it. You'll be able to hear it and see how it sounds for you. As far as the gain on and some of the other features on this microphone, the Blue just has the pad, but there's no monitoring on this microphone. I can't plug headphones into this Snowball. So I would have to listen to it played back in my DAW, which means you have to make sure that you can get zero latency monitoring. Zero latency means as soon as I'm talking in the mic, I can hear myself, and there's no delay, there's no echo. Otherwise, you can really change the way you do your cadence, and it can mess things up because you're waiting for your voice to finish in the headphones, and it's really annoying. So you have to make sure that you're set up for a zero latency, or just don't monitor, right? Just do like this, and you just hope and pray. So no monitoring on the Snowball, but the Yeti does. Right there, does have a monitoring and a headphone volume jack, headphone volume, so you can independently adjust the volume of the microphone in your headphones, as opposed to the gain. There's a gain knob back here that adjusts how loud the microphone is. How sensitive the microphone is. So I can turn that gain up, but you see it really starts to clip very quickly. So I've actually got this in order to match the Snowball. I've got the gain turned practically all the way down, which makes the preamp sound nice and quiet. You don't hear much in the way of hiss, but it's a pretty hot mic. The Yeti can be a very hot mic. Now, that may be perfect for if you're plugged into Windows or something like I said, I'm doing all of this in Reaper. I don't know how it might be on your Windows PC because I ain't got one. If you're just using this to record, daily vlogs for your, talking head type vlogs, and audio quality is not the most important thing. That's always the distinction I have to make is some of my videos, I'm talking about microphones for broadcast, for radio and television, where audio quality is really of paramount importance. That's a different thing. If you just need to be heard, and you need to be heard clearly, but it doesn't need to be pristine and accurate and smooth and warm and all those different, superlatives that people use about the pro setups. If you just need to record yourself and it needs to sound better than the mics that are built into your laptop because it can get closer or it can be in front of your keyboard or whatever it is, these microphones may be perfectly acceptable to you. So there's my rant on USB versus XLR microphones. There's a time and place for both, but the time and place for broadcast is not with a USB microphone, sorry to say. You can audition with them. I could audition with both of these microphones, sure, no problem. But it wouldn't be what would go out over the air. Just the way it is. But if you do think that you're going to do that seriously and you're going to start in the beginning with very inexpensive equipment, I still think you're better off buying a used microphone and maybe even a used interface for the combined price of something like a Yeti. That Perception 100 that I've used in other videos, great microphone. You can get that for $50. Less than this, and it sounds way better than this one. The AKG Perception Series 100, 120. Those are really inexpensive mics right now on eBay. Buy them used. They're very durable. You could use one of those. They're quieter than these too, depending on the preamp that you get. The inherent noise of those microphones is quieter than these because I can't bypass the cheap preamps in these. Just the way it is. So I could, if I had my good preamp and my Perception mic, there's another video of mine that you can see that it's much quieter than these. So there you have it. There's hopefully I've now given you plenty of opportunity to compare back and forth between the Yeti and the Snowball. I'm going to have these mics for a little while, so if you want me to compare it to any of the other mics you've seen in my arsenal, the 416, the Neumann TLM-103, the Caddy 100S, the NT1A, the Akio cheap budget mics, let me know in the comments. I'll make some more videos if you want. I have access to these for a long time. The person I'm borrowing them from doesn't need them anytime soon, so I get to borrow these for a while. So let me know in the comments if you want to do a comparison versus any other microphone that you know that I have. So that's it. So you've heard it all. You've heard it, and it's in what I consider about the best quality environment that you can get for these microphones. So hopefully that gives you what you need. Now, go get yourself a budget microphone if you have to. Record something amazing.